Hey everyone, I'm Tim Cornell, and this is Greg. Greg is a Tesselata Moray eel, and while Greg here lives right in my living room in this saltwater aquarium tank, all of his relatives primarily inhabit coral reefs all around the globe. In the wild, he would be living in a coral reef and hunting at night, hiding in the rock crevices during the day. However, there's a big problem, obviously. Anthropomorphic climate change is putting a huge amount of stress on the entire planet, but particularly in the early stages in the oceans and in the coral reefs. So coral reefs essentially are dying, and that's threatening key reef species like the Tesselata moray eel. So today we're going to talk about how climate change is affecting moray eels, why that's important as it relates to the bigger picture, and what we can maybe do about it at least a little bit to mitigate the damages that are already starting. So coral reefs are some of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the entire planet. They support 25% of all marine species in the ocean, while only accounting for 1% of the ocean floor. But they're under attack, essentially. So ocean warming, higher temperatures cause coral bleaching, where corals expel the algae that they depend on for energy, which leaves them weak and vulnerable. Ocean acidification, so rising CO2 levels make the seawater more acidic. It changes the pH balance of the entire Earth's planets. This weakens corals, making it harder for them to rebuild, and that ties right into the last one, which is the stronger storms, which, stronger hurricanes that we've seen here in Florida, for example, these wipe out coral reefs and their ecosystems, especially when they're already weakened by the other things that we covered. So for species like moray eels, losing coral reefs is like having your entire city bulldozed overnight. It takes away their shelter, their hunting grounds, and their protection from predators, really their whole ecosystem at once. So, morays in the wild, they play a really important role as a key species, as a predator. They're really ambush predators. You can see that Greg is really just hanging out with his head poking out of his cave right now. That's what they do a lot of the time when they're not actively hunting at night. So they are opportunistic. They eat all kinds of fish, even some crustaceans and small octopus even. But coral reef destruction obviously makes their survival a lot harder. So loss of shelter, food shortages, water chemistry changes. Some studies have even suggested that the change in pH can affect their ability to find food, in particular because of the way they smell it out. The effects are really cascading. So something that's really important for them, they're also facing increased competition for food species like lionfish, there's from species like lionfish and snappers, which go after the same prey. In particular, lots of different wrasse species and parrotfish are a big one. So bigger picture here, this obviously isn't just about moray eels, just like it's not really just about Greg here. They're both predators and prey, so their decline sends shockwaves up and down the ecosystem, and they're being impacted by all of these things, and by habitat loss is something that can't really be reversed if it goes past a certain point. So we can't understate how critical this is. So the way reef systems are interconnected, when one species struggles, the others follow. In this case, like I said, all of these effects are like entire cities being lost for the animals that rely on them. So what can be done? Coral reef loss is not inevitable. We can still make a difference, obviously on a global level with anthropomorphic climate change, doing everything that we can to reduce the effects of that and mitigate as much as we can our greenhouse gas emissions. That's clearly going to be number one. Conservation efforts, though, with coral reefs, reef restoration projects do help rebuild damaged areas, but that's limited in how much it can do, which is why the number one, of course, is prevention. And then individual actions, really individual choices, supporting reef-safe products. So sunscreen is a big one. If you can support reef-safe sunscreen before you go into the water, into the ocean in particular, it does make a difference. Those chemicals are just one more pressure that these delicate ecosystems don't need on them right now. And yeah, that's really what I want to end on, is the fact that even though Greg is safe right now in his tank, the rest of the eels out there aren't, because of anthropomorphic climate change and the effect that it's having on the reef systems. So it's not an abstract problem. It's here, it's now, it's affecting all of us more and more every day, every month, every year. So I really hope that, if anything, all of these videos serve as a call to action, to talk about it more and to hopefully do more about it. But thank you for hanging out with me and Greg for a couple minutes here, and I hope you all have a good one.